A population of about 170 million people and being among the world's fastest growing economies make Nigeria an attractive destination to investors. The country is actually slated to be Africa's biggest economy ahead of South Africa after it rebases its GDP. But make no mistake, it's really not that easy to start up a business in Africa's largest oil producer. For small local businesses, it could be a nightmare, especially when it comes to securing funding. And no one understands it better than Babajide Ikpaye. He set up an internet service providing firm using his own resources in 2011, and since last year he's been struggling to get funding from the banks to procure critical equipment to expand his operation. The biggest problem has been securing physical collateral.
We also approached a lot of foreign companies, for example, the Export Development Bank of Canada. They were willing to fund a lot of the equipment we wanted to bring into the country, but they needed a local bank here to guarantee us. And that eventually turned back to the whole issue of the collateral. So it was just a vicious circle, and we just kept going around. They asked for all other requirements which we could meet, but once the issue of collateralizing the loan comes up, that's a dead end.
Besides the issue of collateral, he still had to contend with the bank's lending rates, which are hardly supportive of small businesses.
We're talking of almost 25% interest per annum. The reality is the average business, the average trader or service business as you were, the average profit margin you make on a single transaction is usually about 20 to 30%. So in reality, you might be giving away all the money you make.
Lending rates are very serious problems for local investors. Apart from being astronomical, bank loans have very short tenures. But guess what? The situation is about to get worse. The country's central bank is planning to increase its cash requirement ratio to 100% to stave off a further decline in the local currency. Now, that would inevitably deny banks of vital public sector funds. And the result is that they would be forced to lend out whatever they are left with at very high interest rates.
The foreign investors are bringing funds to this economy at 5% or even less, whereas the domestic investors are sourcing funds at 25% and above. So it's creating a major problem of competitiveness for domestic investors.
But with an economy heavily dependent on imports, the central bank argues that warding off inflation is more crucial for the country than lending rates.
What you don't want to do is to allow your exchange rates to go to the extent where the impact on cost of goods and services becomes so high that inflation rate is affected.
With funding difficult to come by, Babajide is now scaling down and thinking of renting out his office complex to move to a much smaller place.
I'm in this for the long haul. I used to be in paid employment, and there's a vision driving us, and we have a team that is also extremely passionate about what we do, and we're not looking at backing down anytime soon.
And so, the struggle continues. Deji Badmos, CCTV, Lagos, Nigeria.